again, it's me, Lydia, your favorite cosplaying cringe e-girl, and I am back with a vlog of me dressing up as a princess from the Qing dynasty and exploring the Forbidden City, because in Beijing, by the Forbidden City, there's a lot of shops where they will dress you up, do your makeup and hair, and make you look like a princess. So you can explore the city and take really cute, pretty pictures. So it's just like, why not? I like princesses. I want to be a princess. And the day after, I went to the Great Wall. So I have a lot of fun views. And I don't think I really have much food pictures and videos for that trip. But enjoy this vlog, and I hope you have a good time here. Before I get started, I wanted to show the cosplay results from my Beidou cosplay from Genshin Impact. You probably saw the same pictures on TikTok and Instagram. But if you didn't, well, here they are. I took these pictures in Shanghai, where they have studios already pre-made for you, and this studio was Genshin themed, and all the cosplays were Genshin, so I was very pleased with the results. Every single detail was catered to the video game. Even the plushies, like they had all the elementals, although I'm not sure what the little guy on the table is called in the game. I remember with the eye patch, I had such a hard time seeing where I was going. I had to have my photographer friend help me to guide me where to go. I cosplayed Shihi at a different studio. She has her eye covered as well, but at least with hair, you can kind of move it out of your eye and then put it back over your eye. With an eye patch, you can't do that. But in these pictures, I feel like a 10 out of 10, a 20 out of 10. I am hot. I'm looking good. I look almost exactly like the character. My friend also did my makeup for me, and I feel like the makeup pulls the whole cosplay together. I feel like the makeup gives me a more darker look, similar to Beidou. So when I go back to the States, I'll try to make some videos of me learning how to do cosplay makeup, because if you know me, I don't really do makeup. I usually just use a filter or something to make my skin look smooth, and that's pretty much it. So if I learn how to do makeup, maybe I won't even have to use a filter, and my videos will look extra crispy. Using my American Express credit card to book the hotel, I got free breakfast, and this is just the breakfast I had. It was an all-you-can-eat breakfast buffet. My favorite thing was that buckwheat pancake you saw earlier. It tasted a little sweet, but it had a lot of protein and fiber. After breakfast, I went to a shop, and I dressed up in my princess clothes from the Qing dynasty before entering the Forbidden City. At these shops, there's always so many choices, it's very hard to pick. I tried on about 4 or 5 before I settled with the purple one. A lot of people will dress up to go to the Forbidden City. Not everyone, of course, but enough people that there are several shops and hundreds, if not thousands, of dresses available for rental. The place I went to also did my hair and makeup, and this is what the dress looked like with the hair makeup all done before I left. They gave a skirt for me to wear underneath. I forget the name of the show I would watch, but when I would go to my friend's house and I would play with her, I would play in the basement, and her grandparents lived in the basement, and they'd watch us. And I remember in the background on the TV, they'd be watching this princess show or emperor-empress show that took place in the Qing dynasty. I do not remember the name of the show, but wearing the outfit felt a little nostalgic for me. After putting on the clothes, I went to the lollipop stand. You blow air into the candy and you can form it into different shapes. There was shrimp, there was a dog. I picked a rabbit because I really like rabbits. I asked for permission to film and I was told it was okay. And during this video, I don't know what, maybe it's because I'm wearing a pretty dress or because I'm a foreigner, but I get a lot of people looking at me. And I didn't realize until this video how many people looked at me. When I was in the smaller cities, I had a lot of people looking at me because I was a foreigner and I looked different or maybe unique or out of place there. But in Beijing, there's a lot of foreigners, so maybe it's because of how my hair looked in the outfit. I'm not quite sure, but I just think it's funny. Overall, the experience was kind of fun making the lollipop, but I wouldn't recommend eating the lollipop itself. I'd recommend getting one of those sticks with fruit on it that's covered in the same candy. Altogether, that tastes really good. But if you just get the candy, it kind of gets stuck in your teeth more, and it tastes good, but just not as good. The rabbit is almost complete. It turned out really cute. As I made the lollipop, I was thinking of my own rabbits, and I was wondering how they were doing. I miss my rabbits. With the little red eyes painted on him, he kind of looked like my rabbit Lingonberry. Earlier when I said it was done, it was not done. Now it is done. Now the rabbit is done, and I have my rabbit. And now my mission was complete. It was a little hard to eat the ears, though, because those pieces were thicker, but I just kind of ate it like a lollipop, except the butt. The walk up to the Forbidden City was really lovely. I liked seeing all the weeping willow trees. Before you get inside the Forbidden City, you have to wait in line in a queue, but it doesn't take too long to get inside. Because it's fall, it's not really tourist season. So although the line was kind of long and not as crowded, it definitely wasn't as big as it would have been if you went in the summer, or if I went in the summer. As I was walking through this palace, the whole time I was thinking, wow, all this owned by one emperor. And then if you think back to my last vlog for the summer palace, the emperor would leave his forbidden kingdom, forbidden palace here, to go to his summer palace in the summertime when it got hot. So all of this and all of the summer palace just for one emperor. Sure, the emperor and, all the other family members and people who have to take care of them all resided here. But still, technically, all this just belonged to the emperor. And in the Forbidden Palace, there are still sections that are closed off to the public and only open to the royal family. Is royal even the right word? Let's just say family from the emperor's bloodline. Also, another fun fact, the Forbidden City is the largest collections of preserved architecture. I think Beijing has done a really beautiful and amazing job at preserving the architecture from the Qing dynasty. It's almost as if it was frozen in time. I keep talking about the architecture, but I keep showing myself in the pretty princess dress. So here's some architecture. Actually, wait, no, it's just me walking around in my princess dress and posing more and feeling like a princess. So I'm going to strut around. The lighting in this area wasn't the best, but I found another area with the most perfect lighting ever. Just look right now. Boom. Sun-kissed. I feel so angelic. I actually had a lot of people complimenting me on how my hair looked in this dress. I think people really liked the pink hair. I also had a couple people coming up and taking pictures of me. Also, the shoes I am wearing came with the dress, but for the most part, I wore my sneakers to walk around. I only put on the heels when I was taking pictures or video clips. Now we get into some more of the architecture. Inside the Forbidden Palace, there's a lot of moats. I think you call those little rivers or man-made rivers moats and bridges. And inside the palace was also an exhibition for how writing was done back in the Qing dynasty. In this exhibit, the names of the pieces were translated to English, but the history of the pieces didn't have a translation for the most part. So I'm not quite sure what a lot of these were used for or how they were made, but it was interesting to see. And here's some more scenes from around the palace. There were several buildings of this structure all around, and they're lined in a straight row, so if you keep walking straight, then you should cross through all the buildings. It is a really big palace, and I only saw about 2 or 3 of the buildings before I took a break to eat. I had some oyster mushrooms, and I had some egg drop soup with, I think there were some mushrooms in that too, or maybe it was seaweed. But after that, I was still hungry. I think it's because I didn't really eat much of the rice. I mostly just ate the mushrooms and cucumber. So I ordered a plate of curry, and I ate that too. I really like the curry. There was only about 30 minutes left before the palace had to start closing down. So I kept walking straight to see all the buildings. And as the day went on, it got even more crowded. I was also having some trouble finding the garden. Eventually I found the garden, but as you can see, there's just so much space and so many buildings. It was hard, okay? It was very hard. But I was told to keep walking through this building and eventually I would get there. And they were right, I got there. Although you can't see too much of the garden as there's just a lot of people. But for what you can see, very lovely. I like this tree a lot, how it opened up in the center and you could walk underneath. But instead of walking straight, I wanted to leave before the palace closed down, and then I'd have to leave with a big group of people. I wanted to leave before everyone was leaving, so I could get to my taxi early and not worry about traffic as much. So I left a little early. But because I left a little early, some of the buildings were already closed down, and they were empty, so I could take some fun video clips and pictures in front of them. I then returned the dress and I walked back to my hotel. But after that, oh my, I spent a lot of money on a nice hotel, but to balance it out, I spent very little on a very cheap hotel, a hotel that didn't even have a window. All it had was a glass door, or I guess a fake window, but it just led to a room of rocks. Kind of funny, but I didn't really spend a lot of time there other than to sleep. So I got food and then I went to walk around the city of Beijing and I saw some of the nightlife. It's really sweet, I think, to see people doing dance classes and some yoga classes in the public at the parks. There was also a lot of more music playing. It just felt very welcoming or very happy. And here are some pretty lights at the mall. The Burger King, by the way, was having a League of Legends themed burger. I didn't get it because I already ate, but maybe I'll go back and try it. Especially since I saw a Timo burger. One thing I saw as I was walking around that I wasn't too happy to see was there's this woman who walked by wearing, regular clothes, a regular dress, and then there was this man, and he was filming her without her knowing. Or at first, I thought maybe she knew, maybe she asked her to film like a clip for a TikTok or Instagram or whatever app is the popular Chinese app, because I know some of those apps aren't allowed in China, but China has their own version. Whatever it is. But I was wrong. He filmed her without her knowing, and he just kind of kept it to himself, and I was staring him down, and he knew I saw, and he felt really uncomfortable and left, but I couldn't really say anything. I don't speak Mandarin. I don't know exactly what to say, but I did say really loud in English, "Did you see him filming her?" to my friends, so I don't know, maybe someone heard and maybe it embarrassed him enough not to do it again, or at least not anytime soon. I know when you're in public, you should expect to be potentially on camera, but I think there's a difference when you're in the background of something, you're not the subject of the video, versus a man filming you, zooming in on your butt as you walk by and you're unaware. I think that's weird. But anyways, the next morning I went to eat and then I went out to go see the autumn leaves. At the restaurant, though, they had some birds outside that were really cute. They reminded me of the bird I had growing up. It brought back a lot of happy memories for me. It got cold, though, so the owners of the restaurant brought the birds inside, which made me happy that the birds were well cared for. And then I went inside for the autumn festival, or maybe it wasn't a festival. I think it was just to appreciate the garden. There were a lot of pretty leaves out, and the leaves were all yellow and red. There were also some pretty flowers out in bloom. I'm not sure what the name of the flowers are, though. Also, recently at restaurants, I'm not sure if it's because of the season or because of the location, but there has been a lot of floral teas being served, and I really like flowery tea. I was also told that green tea is a summer spring tea, whereas black tea is a winter fall tea. We were rushing a little bit so we could get to the lift as fast as we could because the line to the lift was very long and they closed at a certain time. But we got there in time and we enjoyed some of the flowers along the way. Here's a selfie I took. Honestly, the line kind of felt like a line for an anime convention. You wait in line to get a ticket to wait in another line to take the lift. While I was waiting, I saw 2 stray dogs. They seemed friendly in the sense that they didn't really bark or come up to people in a mean way, but they were also very scared of people. There were actually quite a few stray dogs and stray cats I saw in China. Eventually we got to the lift, and it was my first time taking a lift. We got to see all the pretty leaves and the pretty view from up above. When you get off, you kind of have to get off to the side and then wait for the chair to move up ahead of you, and then you can move away. And this older lady didn't know that, and she ended up falling, and I felt so bad, but she was brought up by the staff, and she was on her 2 feet again, and she was okay. And here's some of the views from the lift. The leaves were starting to turn orange and red, but a lot of the trees were pine trees, which do not do that. So the view was green with sprinkles of orange and red. Nevertheless, a very fun experience, and I enjoyed the ride and just seeing everything and the town from up above. It was a little windy, which made it a bit colder up there. Luckily, I had a hat on and a really thick coat. You could see some of the mountains. I do not remember the name, but I believe this is the tallest mountain in Beijing. If you can't go to Beijing, I still recommend taking a lift with a view, especially in the fall time to see all the leaves, or maybe in the spring when everything's in full bloom. We took the lift all the way to the top of the mountain, but the wait line for the lift back down was 2 hours long, so we decided to walk down the mountain later. Our calf muscles were so sore after, but it was a nice experience. While we were up there, we saw some of the wishes that you could purchase and tie on a railing. I got some maple tea. The hike down took about an hour, and we were all very hungry, so we went to an all-you-can-eat seafood place that's also a hot pot place. It had all-you-can-drink for wine, beer, soda, tea. Had a lot of pastries like cakes and egg tarts and so many fruits to choose from. They had grilled seafood, baked seafood, chicken wings, they even had yams. My favorite fruit of the night was the mango. It was very fresh and ripe. And they had a sushi bar, and I got so many scallops. Everything just looked very beautiful and aesthetic. I think my favorite food of the night was this egg tart cheese crab, where it was crab meat mixed with egg tart filling and cream cheese, I think, all baked into a crab shell, and it was very, very delicious. There's also a live seafood section where you pick the fish that you want to eat. I try to stay away from that section, but everyone gets a free lobster, so I picked 1 lobster to eat. There was also mussels and shrimp and crab, and there was also turtle right over here. This is the lobster I picked. I'm happy that they, do their thing before they cook the lobster, so it's over in a second, and the lobster doesn't have to suffer, but it tasted really good. The next day, I made my voyage to the Great Wall of China. Here are some of the views I saw on the way. It was very foggy, and the fog kind of just touched the mountainsides. Sometimes I wonder, how long did it take for the earth to form these mountains? And I also wonder, how are mountains even made? I think in general, for all mountains, some of the ways that they are made are volcanoes, with lava solidifying and forming a mountain. Mountains can also be formed when 2 continental plates collide. And if the plates are the same thickness and weight, instead of sinking under one or the other, they will crumple up and form mountains. And the more force and the more collision, the bigger the mountain. Before going to the Great Wall, you can go to the neighboring town. There's a really long bridge with lions on the edges, and each lion is made a little bit differently. Here's some of the sights we saw along the way. I am a big fan of the plants being incorporated within the infrastructure of the towns. It looks very beautiful. Also, those fruits and vegetables are fake. They're just made for the aesthetic to look cool. And it seems like every area has a really pretty arch. Here's one of the arches I saw there. If you've seen my other travel vlogs within China, or you're just familiar with China on your own, then you know that arch is around many different locations within Beijing. As to why, I don't know. Probably because it's beautiful. But yeah, I've seen it at many different places. I kind of have a waddle in my step because I was tired from the mountain before. But up ahead, you pay to enter a little town with a bunch of snacks and food and activities to do. They have little shows. Before entering and after entering, though, I saw a lot of stray cats. I probably saw about 10 stray cats on this whole trip. A lot were very skittish and didn't like to be around people up close, but this cat was very cuddly and really liked to be pet. He also sat up on a little staircase, so I decided to sit right next to him, and I took a couple pictures with him. He kind of reminded me of the lion statues earlier on the bridge. This is another stray cat. Everyone just kind of likes the stray cats and tries to pet them. But I also really appreciate how people respect the cat's boundaries. You know, when the cat leaves, you don't keep following the cat around or trying to force the cat to be pet. So we entered the town, and here's some more pretty views, and the trees are all turning a little orange. There was also this rock, and I don't know what it says, so if you know what it says, please let me know. Let's call these man-made bodies of water moats within the city. If you would like a nice, beautiful ride, then you can pay for a ride in a little boat with your family or friends and take the boat around from one end of the city to the other via the moat. I did that after seeing the Great Wall, but before seeing the Great Wall, we walked around, saw the pretty lanterns, and then we saw this hawthorn candy shop. Lots of different fruit on a stick. I got a small little fruit on a stick. It was just 2 pieces of fruit, a strawberry and a hawthorn, both really good. If you are traveling to China, definitely a must. Have the fruit on a stick with the candy on it at least once during your trip. You will not regret it. Even if you're not a candy person, when these bad boys come out warm too, oh my, so good. So we continued to walk around and I saw some live fish. And eventually the sun set enough that the lights turned on and the city just lit up. Also, there's another stray cat. I walked up slowly to try to pet the cat, but the cat didn't want to be pet. Also, my butt was wet from earlier from sitting in a puddle next to another cat. But the cat was scared and didn't want to be pet, but he was also kind of interested in the same time, so I just respected the cat. You know, I didn't pet him, but he was still a curious little guy. And here's another cat. He was also not wanting to be pet, but as long as he didn't touch him, he was okay. He was happy. There were LED lights underneath the bridge. I think it made the view look even more beautiful. And a lot of people started taking pictures on the bridge. I was one of those people. But there are many bridges within the little town that you could take pictures on or enjoy. Some more views in the sun setting. I ended up getting some food for dinner before making the whole trip up to the Great Wall. For most of these attractions, there are bathrooms around and along the way when you go hiking. I didn't do the hiking though. I took a lift up and a lift down. But I recommend, before going on the journey, use the bathroom please and make sure you eat because otherwise you will be a little uncomfortable. Maybe not even a little uncomfortable. Maybe you will be really uncomfortable. I learned my lesson from the day before when I went hiking up that mountain. But we had some bamboo shoots, some fish, some whole shrimp, some pancake, some rice, cabbage. It was nice. And the lights were even brighter. So we made our way to find the lift. The lift is even further out away from the town. You even go past a hot spring resort along the way. So if you want to stay at the hot spring resort for a night, you can. As to how much it costs, I don't know. I probably can't afford it. It's really expensive, I bet. But we got in the lift and we're all wearing yellow ponchos because it was raining. You could see all the lights from the town and the Great Wall from within the lift, but you couldn't see down below, which I think was good because we were up really high. Also, it was a little windy, so the lift was shaking back and forth a bit, but you couldn't see the bottom, so it almost just felt like a regular little roller coaster. And finally, the Great Wall. I was there. I made it. Even though we took a lift, it was still a small little hike up to the Great Wall. A portion of the wall was closed off because of the weather and because it was really dark. I think the night view and the morning view from the wall are just as beautiful, just in different ways. So Just think about yourself, and if you do decide to go, what would you like to do? Would you like to see all the lights at night, or would you want to see like the whole landscape in the day? As I was walking, I was just imagining how hard it must have been to build this wall during the time it was built in. And here are two stray cats. They kept meowing at everyone. I think they were cold. I don't know how they got up there. I wasn't sure how to help them. Maybe they have their own little cat colony. But I'm sure if they found their way up, they'll find their way back down. I came to the Great Wall of China just to pretend I'm in Game of Thrones and go, winter is coming. And here's me climbing up some more stairs at the Great Wall of China. I felt like a big yellow marshmallow in that poncho. It was also really windy and really, really cold up there. More cold than back down at the town. Winter is coming. We then took the lift all the way back down. And as we were going down, I saw all these lights and I asked, is that a building lighting up? But I soon learned that those were all drones and they were doing a really pretty drone show. I'm not quite sure what that shape was though. There was some leaves for the fall leaves. For a second it was some pizza, but I forgot to record the whole thing. But isn't it cool to see how the drones move around? They also made a hot pot. After the lift, we took a boat from the end of the town back to the beginning of the town so we wouldn't have to walk and we'd have a lovely view to enjoy along the way. It was pretty relaxing and it was nice to see all the lights and leaves together. To catch the train to the next city. I forget what the city's called, but it's a smaller city. I'm going to 2 more cities in China, then I'm going to Korea, Seoul, Korea, for the League of Legends games. Hopefully I secure some tickets. And then I'm going to California, then Utah, and then I'm back home in Delaware, and then I'll be cosplaying more there. So don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe for more content. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye!